If you wish to rise above mediocrity, you must recognize this. The world of material gain is governed first by the invisible world of thought, intention, and faith. Every castle ever built in stone was first erected in the blueprint of a man's imagination. Every fortune amassed in gold was first conceived in the currency of hope, belief, and vision. You can have the best plan, the cleverest mind, and the strongest will, yet if your spirit is impoverished, your victories will crumble like sandcastles in the tide. Do not dismiss this as sentimentalism. The greatest men and women of achievement have always understood that success is first spiritual and only then physical. It is no accident that those who reached the highest heights were men and women of deep conviction, quiet reflection, and unshakable faith. They had unlocked the spiritual side of success, and in doing so became masters of fate. You may say, but I am practical, not mystical. To this I answer, practicality without spiritual alignment is the fastest route to frustration. How many people do you know who hustle from dawn to dusk, clever and diligent, yet forever on the treadmill of disappointment? Their results never match their effort because their inner life is divided, scattered, or empty. To unlock the spiritual side of success is to become a single, focused beam of energy, pulling every atom of your being toward the future you desire. It begins with the cultivation of inner stillness. The world celebrates the busy man, but the universe favors the man who can pause, reflect, and listen. Silence is the birthplace of wisdom, and every revelation worth having comes in a moment of quiet clarity. Set aside time each day, not for doing, but for being. Reflect on your deepest desires. Ask yourself, what do I truly want? And wait patiently for the answer to rise from within. It is in these moments that your vision crystallizes, your doubts melt away, and the path forward becomes illuminated. From this inner sanctuary, you must then cultivate belief, a faith so robust that it refuses to be shaken by circumstances. This is not blind optimism, but a conscious choice to believe in the possibility of your own greatness. Doubt is the thief of destiny. It robs you not only of peace, but of the energy required to pursue your dreams. The spiritual side of success demands that you guard your belief with the vigilance of a watchman. Feed it daily with affirmations, surround it with positive influences, and refuse to permit the poison of cynicism to touch it. As you strengthen your faith, you will begin to notice a shift in your world. Opportunities that once seemed hidden will appear. Challenges will shrink. Doors that were closed will begin to open. The world will call it luck, but you will know it as the reward of spiritual alignment. Your mind, body, and spirit will act in harmony. You will become a magnet for the people, resources, and events necessary to fulfill your purpose. This is not magic, but the result of natural law. What you hold in your spirit, you attract in your world. But belief without purpose is like a ship without a compass. You must define your mission with clarity and conviction. What is the highest expression of your gifts? How can your life be used in service to something greater than yourself? These are not idle questions. They are the very foundation upon which enduring success is built. The man who chases only money will find that even if he wins, he loses, for he has sold his soul for trinkets. The man who serves a vision greater than himself, who aligns his talents with the needs of the world, will be blessed with abundance that cannot be measured by the balance in his bank account alone. True success is never selfish. The universe rewards those who create value, uplift others, and leave a mark of inspiration. If you wish to unlock the spiritual side of success, become a conduit for good. Be the one who encourages, uplifts, and serves. Give freely of your talents, your resources, and your praise. In doing so, you will open channels for blessings to flow to you in ways you cannot predict or control. The miser, the cynic, the one who hoards and guards, always finds his riches slipping through his fingers. The generous soul becomes a fountain, ever replenished. There's one final truth you must accept if you are to unlock this higher level of achievement. You are not alone in this journey. Whether you call it God, infinite intelligence, or simply the power of the subconscious mind, there is a force that responds to the desires of the earnest, the prayers of the faithful, and the intentions of the pure in heart. Speak your dreams aloud in the quiet of the morning. Write them down as declarations. Meditate on them until they become imprinted on your soul. The universe listens. Life at its highest is not a contest of muscle or will. It is a dance between your spirit and the boundless possibility that surrounds you. From this day forward, refuse to measure your success by outward results alone. Begin each day with gratitude, reflection, and intention. Speak words of power, move with quiet confidence, and hold your faith unshakable. Where others see only obstacles, you will see opportunity. Where others tire and falter, you will draw strength from the wellspring within. The spiritual side of success is not for the masses, but for those who dare to believe that there is more within themselves and more available to them from the invisible realm. You are the architect of your fate, the captain of your soul. But you are also a receiver, a conduit for the limitless energy of the universe. When you align your thoughts, beliefs, and actions with the highest vision for your life, you become unstoppable. Fortune favors the soul that is awake, aware, and aligned with purpose. Unlock the spiritual side of success, and you will find that what once seemed impossible now stands waiting for your command. Begin today. Reflect deeply, believe fiercely, serve selflessly, and expect miracles. The door to greatness is not found in the world, it is unlocked within your own spirit. If you wish to ascend from mediocrity to greatness, you must understand the supreme principle. Every advance in the outer world is born from a corresponding expansion within. Success is not a matter of chance, nor is it granted to those who merely wish for it. It comes to those who build themselves into the type of person success must obey. This building is not done in the gymnasium of muscle, nor in the halls of academic learning, but in the hidden workshop of the soul. The world recognizes visible accomplishments, but it is blind to the invisible victories that must come first. Here, in the privacy of your own heart, you must unlock the spiritual side of success before the fruits of success can appear in your daily life. The first step on this journey is the mastery of thought. Most men are the victims of random, drifting ideas. They allow worry, fear, and envy to settle in their minds as uninvited guests. Understand, your mind is sacred ground. Nothing can enter it unless you permit it. If you allow doubt, limitation, and complaint to take root, they will choke out every seed of greatness. But if you choose your thoughts as carefully as a master gardener selects his plants, you can fill your inner landscape with only those ideas that bring growth, strength, and abundance. This is not an idle exercise. It is the very foundation of achievement. Do not wait for the world to give you permission to think greatly. The world has always scoffed at visionaries. Instead, give yourself permission to rise above the herd. Set aside time each day to feed your mind with noble thoughts. Read the stories of those who overcame the impossible. Listen to words of encouragement, not gossip or negativity. The mind, like a sponge, will absorb whatever it is soaked in. Saturate it with faith, hope, and possibility. Soon, your dominant thoughts will become your beliefs, and your beliefs will become your results. Yet thought alone is not enough. The spiritual side of success requires that you transform belief into feeling. If you speak of prosperity but feel only fear, your words will lack the magnetic force necessary to create change. The universe responds not merely to what you say, but to the energy with which you say it. This is why men of power are so often men of conviction. Their inner belief radiates outward, transforming their environment, bending the world to their will. Cultivate a burning desire for your goals, a desire so strong that you can see, hear, taste, and feel your success even before it arrives. To reach this level, you must develop the habit of visualization. Take time each morning to close your eyes and vividly imagine yourself living the life you desire. See yourself succeeding in the very field you have chosen. Imagine the sights, sounds, and emotions of victory. Feel the gratitude, the excitement, the satisfaction. This act is not mere daydreaming. It is the process by which you train your subconscious mind to accept greatness as your new reality. When your subconscious accepts this image as truth, it will draw to you people, circumstances, and opportunities in ways you could never plan or force by effort alone. But let me warn you, the man who pursues spiritual success without discipline is a ship without a rudder. You must give structure to your days. Set regular times for reflection, affirmation, and gratitude. Make these practices as habitual as eating or sleeping. The reason most people fail to unlock the spiritual side of success is not because they lack desire, but because they lack consistency. Inspiration is like a muscle. If neglected, it atrophies. If exercised daily, it becomes a mighty force that will not fail you when tested. Equally important is the company you keep. If you wish to develop spiritual strength, surround yourself with those who support your vision. Seek out conversations that lift you higher. Associate with men and women who see possibility where others see limits. The energy of those around you will either elevate or deplete your own spirit. Be ruthless in protecting your environment. If you must walk alone for a time, walk alone with dignity. Solitude in pursuit of your vision is preferable to compromise in the company of doubters. And now, a vital principle. Learn the art of surrender. The spiritual path to success is not about rigid control, but about alignment. Do not become obsessed with the how or the when. Focus on the what and the why. State your intention with clarity and passion, then release the need to force every detail. Trust that, once you have done your part, the unseen forces will conspire to meet you halfway. The farmer does not dig up his seeds each morning to check their progress. He waters, waits, and trusts the laws of nature. Likewise, plant your dreams, nourish them with belief, and surrender the outcome. During your journey, you will encounter setbacks. They are not signs of failure, but invitations to deepen your faith. The greatest spiritual victories are won in the moments when all visible evidence is against you, yet you persist. When adversity comes, do not collapse into complaint or self-pity. Instead, become still. Ask, what is this experience here to teach me? How can I grow stronger from it? Every trial contains a lesson, and every lesson, when mastered, increases your spiritual power. As you grow in spiritual awareness, you will discover a secret known to all high achievers: the power of intention. Success comes not from desperate effort, but from the calm certainty that you will prevail. Make a habit of writing down your intentions. State them in the present tense, as if they are already true. Repeat them morning and night. The mind cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined reality and the external world. With enough repetition, your subconscious will begin to act as though your success is inevitable and your actions will become aligned with your highest purpose. Do not fall into the trap of waiting for perfect conditions. Spiritual mastery is built in the midst of chaos, not in the absence of it. Begin where you are with what you have, and trust that as you move forward, the path will open. Do not compare your progress to that of others. Your journey is unique, and your rewards will be measured not only by what you gain, but by who you become in the process. Above all, cultivate gratitude. Make it your daily practice to thank life for every blessing, seen and unseen. Gratitude transforms your energy, making you receptive to more abundance. The grateful man attracts opportunities, friends, and resources without strain. He becomes a living magnet for good. Write a list each day of what you are thankful for, no matter how small. Review it often, and you will find that what you focus on expands. The spiritual side of success is not a destination, but a lifelong journey. Each day offers new chances to deepen your faith, strengthen your resolve, and align your actions with your highest ideals. As you progress, you will notice a peace and confidence that the world cannot give, nor can it take away. You will become the master of your fate and the captain of your soul, not by conquering the world, but by conquering yourself. Let this be your foundation. Control your thoughts, cultivate your feelings, protect your environment, and act with unwavering faith. When you live from the inside out, all that you seek will begin to seek you. Continue this journey, for in the invisible world within lies the key to every visible achievement you will ever claim. The truth remains. What you possess outwardly is always a reflection of what you have built inwardly. If you seek to transform your results, you must first refine your spirit, your character, and your inner attitudes. This is not mystical poetry, it is a law, as sure as gravity. Just as a seed contains within itself the pattern for the mighty oak, you, too, contain within your consciousness the blueprint for every achievement, every fortune, every meaningful relationship. But most men never activate this potential because they neglect the inner work, seduced instead by a culture obsessed with surface results and quick rewards. Understand this. The world you inhabit is a mirror. Every person, circumstance, and event is reflecting back to you the thoughts and feelings you habitually entertain. This is why two men may walk the same road and yet experience entirely different journeys. One perceives obstacles, another opportunities. One is bitter, the other grateful. One is defeated by circumstances, while the other rises above them. It is the inner man who determines the outer destiny. To unlock the spiritual side of success, you must become intensely conscious of this mirror effect and begin to choose your internal states as deliberately as you would choose a suit of clothes. Begin with self-examination. Set aside time each day to reflect quietly and honestly. Ask yourself, what do I truly believe about my potential? What patterns have I been repeating in my life? What am I tolerating that I must no longer accept? Do not answer with shallow optimism or empty platitudes. Be ruthless in your honesty, for only the man who faces his own weaknesses can transform them into strengths. Write your answers down. The act of writing clarifies thought and exposes hidden beliefs. Many never change because they never stop long enough to look in the mirror. As you examine your beliefs, you will inevitably discover limiting assumptions, ideas implanted by society, family, or your own past experiences. These are the invisible shackles that keep men bound to mediocrity. To break them, you must challenge every belief that says, "This is just the way I am," or "I could never achieve that." Replace such thoughts with questions of possibility. How can I grow beyond this? Who could I become if I decided to think differently? The mind is not fixed. It is plastic, moldable, capable of astonishing change when guided by will and intention. Once you have begun this inner clearing, move swiftly to establish new spiritual habits. The first of these is affirmation, the deliberate repetition of empowering statements. Choose words that reflect the person you wish to become and the reality you intend to create. Say them aloud with conviction, daily and nightly, until they saturate your consciousness. I am disciplined and determined. I am worthy of abundance. I am a magnet for opportunity. At first, these statements may feel false, but persist. The mind cannot resist repeated suggestion, and what you repeat with emotion will gradually become your new truth. Yet, words alone are powerless unless matched by emotion. It is the intensity of feeling behind your thoughts that stirs the creative forces within you. Practice feeling as if your goals were already accomplished. Let the emotion of success, pride, gratitude, and fulfillment well up inside you. The subconscious mind responds not to the intellect, but to feeling. When you marry your affirmations with powerful emotion, you activate spiritual laws that draw circumstances, people, and ideas to you in unexpected ways. Another spiritual practice is meditation, which simply means the art of stillness and focused attention. Set aside moments each day to withdraw from the noise of the world and listen inwardly. In silence, your intuition can speak. You will receive flashes of insight, solutions to problems, and new creative ideas. Most men rush from one distraction to the next, never pausing long enough to receive the guidance that is always available to them. Discipline yourself to listen. Trust what you receive. The greatest inventions, fortunes, and masterpieces were born from silent moments of inspiration. As your spiritual foundation strengthens, you will encounter what may seem like setbacks, failures, delays, criticism, rejection. Do not be discouraged. The spiritual side of success is not a straight upward line, but a journey marked by lessons and tests. Each obstacle is an opportunity for growth, a chance to prove to yourself that your vision is stronger than your circumstances. When you encounter adversity, pause and remind yourself, this is not happening to me, it is happening for me. Seek the hidden lesson, and you will emerge wiser and more powerful. Part of unlocking spiritual success is the art of forgiveness. You cannot climb to greatness weighed down by resentment, anger, or blame. If you hold bitterness toward anyone, yourself included, you poison your own spirit and block the flow of creative energy. Practice letting go. Write letters you never send. Speak words of release in the privacy of your own mind, and make the conscious decision to be free. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is the assertion of your inner power. When you forgive, you cut the cords that bind you to the past and free yourself to create a new future. At this stage, you must confront the habits that sabotage spiritual progress. Procrastination, self-doubt, negativity, and the endless seeking of approval from others. Understand that these habits are merely old ways of thinking, reinforced by years of repetition. They are not your identity. Begin to observe them without judgment, then take small, decisive actions to replace them with better patterns. If you hesitate, act. If you doubt, affirm. If you complain, give thanks instead. Every time you choose faith over fear, discipline over comfort, gratitude over criticism, you are strengthening your spiritual core. Do not fall prey to the illusion that spiritual growth is a solitary journey. Seek out a community of like-minded individuals who will encourage your vision and challenge your complacency. Join groups, attend seminars, or simply engage in regular conversation with those who are committed to their own growth. Iron sharpens iron. The right companions will inspire you to aim higher, think deeper, and persevere longer than you would alone. And never forget the role of service in spiritual success. The man who seeks only to accumulate for himself will find his rewards empty and short-lived. True abundance flows to those who use their gifts to enrich the lives of others. Ask yourself daily, whose life can I touch? What value can I add today? Give without keeping score, and you will find that life's riches multiply in ways you could never have calculated. Finally, hold before you a clear and worthy vision. The spiritual path is not about wandering aimlessly or settling for what is safe. It is about daring to dream greatly, then aligning your thoughts, feelings, and actions with that dream. Write your vision in vivid detail. Read it each morning and night. Let it guide your decisions, fuel your persistence, and lift you above the setbacks that stop lesser men. The journey to unlock the spiritual side of success is ongoing, ever evolving. It is the daily commitment to think higher, feel deeper, act nobler, and serve more generously than you did the day before. Each step you take inward will be reflected outward until the man you become is a living testament to the unseen forces that shape all destinies. Continue onward and let your life become the proof that the spirit once awakened is truly unstoppable. If you have journeyed with me this far, then you have already stepped out of the ranks of the ordinary and onto the path that only the courageous dare to walk. The world will tell you that your fortune lies in your labor, your hours, your hustle, and your connections. But the deeper truth, the one the masses never learn, is that every outward achievement first takes form in the quiet chambers of your soul. Your spiritual self is the master architect, and your worldly results are only the bricks and mortar shaped by the blueprints you create within. The man who desires to rise must understand that his greatest task is not in conquering the world, but in mastering himself. Now let us look even deeper into the forces that move your life. The most neglected law of all is this: you attract not what you want, but what you are. Your words, your actions, your very posture broadcast to the universe the frequency upon which your life will be built. If you think poverty, speak defeat, and act with fear, the world will reflect back to you more of the same. If you dwell on possibility, speak with conviction, and walk with self-respect, you set in motion unseen forces that open doors and attract allies. The difference between a pauper and a prince is not money or birthright, it is consciousness. The greatest riches are reserved for those who become rich in spirit before a single coin appears in their pocket. How do you achieve this shift? You must discipline your mind with the rigor of a general preparing for battle. Every day, thoughts will assail you, doubts, resentments, fears, memories of failure. You must become the gatekeeper at the threshold of your mind. Examine every thought as it arises. If it does not serve your vision, dismiss it. If it empowers you, embrace it. This is the art of spiritual discipline. It is not a one-time event, but a lifelong habit. Just as the body grows strong through repeated effort, the spirit grows powerful through repeated acts of conscious choice. Guard your imagination fiercely. The images you entertain in your mind are not harmless daydreams. They are the raw material out of which your future is forged. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between fantasy and reality. It acts upon the instructions you give it with emotion and repetition. See yourself as the person you wish to become, not merely as you are. Visualize your goals with clarity and detail, as if they were already true. Walk, speak, and act in alignment with this image, and soon the world will catch up with your vision. The men who achieve the impossible are simply those who refuse to see limits. But do not fall into the trap of arrogance. The spiritual path is one of humility as well as power. Recognize your weaknesses, not to dwell in them, but to transform them. Every failing, every disappointment, every error is a lesson in disguise. When you stumble, ask yourself, what must I learn? How can I grow? The greatest fortunes have been built by men who learned to turn their defeats into stepping stones. Do not fear failure. Fear the refusal to learn from it. Each setback, faced squarely and reflected upon honestly, becomes a rung on the ladder to mastery. A critical key on this journey is emotional transmutation. Most people squander their energy in petty conflicts, jealousy, and regret. The wise man learns to transmute negative emotions into fuel for growth. Anger can become determination. Jealousy can become inspiration. Regret can become resolve. Every powerful emotion is raw energy. Redirect it toward your goals, and you will achieve in months what others do not in years. When you feel emotion rising, pause. Ask, how can I use this? Your mastery is measured not by what you feel, but by what you do with what you feel. Choose your environment carefully. The energy, conversation, and attitudes of those around you will influence your spirit more than you realize. Do not remain in the company of the small-minded, the cynical, or the defeated for longer than necessary. Seek out those who inspire you, who challenge you, who demand you rise to a higher standard. Create your own atmosphere of positivity, ambition, and faith, even if you must stand alone at first. The greatest leaders often begin as solitary figures, misunderstood by the masses, but their conviction soon gathers followers and changes the world. The next phase of your spiritual mastery is faith in action. Faith is not blind belief. It is the conviction that the invisible precedes the visible. When you act with faith, you move even before you see the evidence. You persist when others doubt, invest when others hesitate, and speak possibility when others speak limitation. Faith is the bridge between your vision and your results. Every time you act on faith, you expand your capacity for greater achievements. Do not wait for certainty. Certainty is the reward of the man who first risks belief. Yet remember, faith is not passivity. It is not enough to wish, hope, or pray. You must act. Every prayer must be matched by a plan, every affirmation by a decision, every visualization by work. The spiritual man is not a dreamer lost in the clouds, but a builder who translates dreams into brick and mortar. When you act upon your vision with discipline, faith, and persistence, you send a message to the world and to yourself that you are worthy of the success you seek. Gratitude is your spiritual multiplier. It is impossible to receive more until you are grateful for what you have. Practice giving thanks for every opportunity, every lesson, every challenge, every small win along the way. Gratitude expands your awareness of abundance, sharpens your vision, and attracts even greater blessings. It is a discipline, not an emotion. Choose gratitude daily, especially when circumstances seem unfavorable. The man who masters gratitude cannot be defeated because he always finds value, even in hardship. At this point, you may wonder, will this really change my life? The answer is not found in words, but in action. Begin now. Do not wait until you feel ready or until circumstances improve. Start with one new discipline today. Reflect on your beliefs. Visualize your goals. Practice gratitude. Redirect your emotions, or simply guard your mind against negativity for 1 hour. Small daily improvements, repeated over time, create unstoppable momentum. Understand, too, that your spiritual growth is not measured by the approval of others. The world will doubt, criticize, even ridicule your commitment to inner mastery. Let them. You are not building your life on their opinions. Stand strong in your own conviction. The applause of the crowd is fleeting. The satisfaction of self-mastery lasts forever. Finally, know this. The man who unlocks his spiritual side cannot be contained by any circumstance, limited by any past, or denied by any obstacle. The greatest secrets of success are not hidden in vaults or taught in universities. They are revealed to the man who dares to look within, conquer himself, and persist until the world bows to his vision. This journey is yours. Do not delay. The riches you seek are waiting, not in some distant future, but in the man you choose to become today. By now you understand that the journey to extraordinary achievement is not won on the battlefield of circumstance, but in the silent, often lonely, war within the self. What most men call obstacles are only the outward reflections of inner resistance. If you want to command your destiny, you must master the unseen realms of belief, intention, and persistence. You must learn to use your own mind as both compass and engine, never waiting for outside assurance or permission, never blaming the winds or tides, but steering your ship deliberately toward your vision, regardless of the storms. Let me tell you directly, as plainly as I can. Your greatest adversary is not failure, lack, or competition, but the tendency to drift. Drifting is the silent enemy of greatness. It begins so subtly. A day lost to distraction, a week spent doubting, a month absorbed in pleasing others instead of progressing toward your vision. But soon the dream becomes foggy, the energy dulls, and the momentum that once carried you forward slows to a crawl. The cure for drifting is a definite purpose, held relentlessly in the mind and acted upon daily without apology or excuse. Success on the spiritual plane is first and foremost about alignment. The men who reach heights others cannot even imagine have learned to align their thoughts, emotions, and actions with a single burning desire. There is no division within them. They do not send mixed signals to the subconscious or the universe. Their mind, heart, and body speak the same command. Each day, reaffirm your major purpose. Speak it out loud with certainty. Write it down and revisit it often. Allow it to seep into your bones until you cannot forget it, even if you try. This kind of alignment is the unseen force that bends circumstances in your favor and brings unexpected allies and resources to your door. Next, understand the power of persistence. It is not enough to act when you feel inspired or when conditions are favorable. Inspiration fades. Favorable winds change. But the man who persists, even when he is weary, even when no one is watching, becomes unstoppable. Persistence is the secret ingredient that transforms average men into legends. Every day you persist, even in small tasks, you build spiritual muscle. Each repetition, each refusal to quit, convinces your subconscious that you are serious, that you are deserving, that you are destined for more. The universe responds not to wishful thinking, but to persistent action. Another law to embrace is that of personal responsibility. Most people spend their lives blaming circumstances, upbringing, the economy, or even fate for their failures. But the man who would rise must take complete ownership of his results, good or bad, favorable or not. This is not an easy task. It requires courage, humility, and honesty. When you accept responsibility, you claim power. You move from being a victim of events to the master of your fate. Every day, ask yourself, where am I giving away my power? Where am I blaming, excusing, or waiting? Take back your power, and your world will begin to change in ways that seem almost magical. True spiritual success is not just about achievement. It is about becoming a new kind of man. The men who reach the pinnacle are those who continuously refine their character. They do not rest on past victories. They are vigilant against pride, complacency, and self-delusion. They seek out their own weaknesses, not to shame themselves, but to improve. They value truth above comfort, growth above popularity, and impact above applause. The man who is willing to outgrow his own limitations, to challenge his own beliefs, and to reinvent himself again and again, becomes the rare individual who attracts opportunities wherever he goes. Now, reflect on the principle of service. Many miss this. True wealth, material or spiritual, flows to those who solve problems, lift burdens, and increase the value of the world around them. The spiritual man asks daily, how can I serve? How can I increase the good in my sphere of influence? The more you give, the more the law of compensation rewards you, often in ways you could not have foreseen. This is not charity out of weakness or guilt. It is power expressed as contribution. As you elevate others, you elevate yourself. As you solve problems, you become indispensable. As you increase value, you become wealthy. Visualization, too, must not be neglected. Each morning and evening, give yourself time to see the life you are building, not just as a fantasy, but as a reality you are stepping into, day by day. Picture yourself making the decisions, forming the habits, displaying the discipline, and commanding the respect that belongs to the person you are becoming. See it, feel it, embody it. This act of mental rehearsal carves new grooves in your subconscious and instructs your mind and body to move in harmony with your vision. Do not allow doubt to poison your images. The world you create in your mind is the one you will inhabit. On your journey, guard your associations. The company you keep will either lift you higher or drag you down to mediocrity. Choose to spend time with those who think big, who are driven by purpose, who refuse to settle for less. Let go of relationships that feed your doubts, lower your standards, or distract you from your mission. You are not obligated to shrink to fit anyone's comfort zone. If you must walk alone for a season, walk alone. The right people will find you when you have become the right person. Finally, remember to replenish your spirit. The greatest achievers know when to push and when to reflect, when to act and when to rest. Schedule time for solitude, contemplation, and renewal. Feed your mind with wisdom, your body with vitality, and your soul with gratitude. The river that is never refilled runs dry. The spirit that is never nurtured becomes brittle and breaks. Make reflection, learning, and self-care non-negotiable habits in your life. To unlock the spiritual side of success is to realize you are not simply a body moving through the world, but a soul radiating influence in every direction. You are not a victim of fate, but the conscious architect of your destiny. Every thought, word, and deed is a seed planted in the garden of your future. Plant wisely, cultivate daily, and harvest abundantly. The secret is not in waiting for the right moment, but in becoming the right man. So as you continue on this path, abandon hesitation, accept the challenge, demand more of yourself. Know that the world and all of its opportunities bend to the man who has mastered himself from the inside out. This is the ultimate victory. This is the spiritual side of success that few dare to claim, but is waiting for all who will walk the path. The next step is yours. Take it. As we draw the curtain on this journey into the spiritual dimension of success, understand that the final lessons are not about external tactics, but about the fundamental transformation of your inner world. If you have absorbed each principle, if you have recognized your own hidden powers and the invisible laws that shape destinies, you now stand at the threshold of a new reality, a reality that is sculpted by your consciousness, animated by your faith, and sustained by the daily discipline of your mind and spirit. This last segment is your call to permanence, to mastery, and to the creation of a legacy that endures beyond circumstance or the fleeting approval of men. Every man is tested, not in times of ease, but in the quiet hours of doubt and fatigue. It is here, in these moments of solitude, that the spiritual warrior is forged. Most falter because they expect the world to hand them clarity, confidence, or certainty. But these are not gifts, they are creations. They must be summoned by your will, chiseled into existence by your refusal to quit, and kept alive by the inner dialogue you maintain with yourself each day. The man who unlocks spiritual success learns to ask not, when will things get easier, but how will I become stronger? This shift in self-questioning is a turning point that divides those who drift from those who dominate. Let us speak plainly. You must become unshakable. The world admires achievement, but it bows before unshakable conviction. This is not arrogance, it is spiritual certainty. The man who possesses it is immune to the chaos of circumstance, the gossip of the envious, or the inertia of the masses. He has made a pact with himself that he will persist, adapt, and thrive, regardless of who notices or applauds. This deep-rooted confidence does not come from talent or privilege, but from a relentless commitment to inner discipline. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, each time you finish what you begin, each time you speak truth over your doubts, you lay another brick in the foundation of spiritual strength. There is a higher law at work in the lives of those who rise. Call it what you will, infinite intelligence, the subconscious mind, the law of attraction, or the divine. The name matters little. The operation is always the same. You get what you are, not what you wish for. Your dominant thoughts, emotional tone, and daily actions are like radio signals, broadcasting to the world the level of abundance, joy, and opportunity you are prepared to receive. The man who expects poverty, lack, or defeat will receive it. The man who expects increase, service, and greatness will attract it, not by magic, but by the scientific operation of cause and effect. The universe has always rewarded the man who meets life with clear intention, persistent action, and unwavering belief. This is why your spiritual practice must be ongoing, not occasional. You must live in daily communion with your vision, your values, and your highest self. Write your purpose on paper and in your heart. Revisit it every morning before the world makes its demands on you. Reflect every evening on your progress, not with self-judgment, but with a hunger to improve. Feed your subconscious mind with affirmations and images that make your destiny feel inevitable. This is not positive thinking for its own sake. It is the deliberate programming of your internal compass, ensuring that even when you are tired or discouraged, your automatic responses move you closer to your highest aims. Now, let us talk about energy. The world is not moved by information, credentials, or even ideas alone. It is moved by energy, by the certainty, enthusiasm, and passion that emanate from your presence. Your aura, your invisible field, is either magnetic or repellent, strong or weak, vibrant or dull. Guard it as you would your most precious asset. Feed your energy with purposeful movement, proper rest, deep breathing, nourishing food, and positive associations. Do not waste your force on petty arguments, trivial worries, or the drama of the mediocre. Every day, ask yourself, what am I radiating? Am I the kind of man whose very presence inspires, uplifts, and commands opportunities? The answer to this question is the secret to lasting influence and attraction. As you move forward, remember that spiritual mastery is not achieved in isolation. You must become a beacon, a point of inspiration for those still trapped in the fog of self-doubt and confusion. Lift others as you climb. Share your insights, your encouragement, and your belief in human potential. Do not wait to be perfect before you lead. Lead by example. Lead by the transparency of your own struggle, and lead by the faith you place in the seeds you plant each day. The law of increase returns multiplied blessings to the man who gives without keeping score. Do not be deceived by appearances. The richest men are not always those with the largest bank accounts, but those with the richest spirits, men who have built an inner fortress of character, discipline, and faith that cannot be stormed by adversity. Wealth in the truest sense is the harmony between your material circumstances and your spiritual growth. When you pursue both with equal passion and principle, you become the rare man who enjoys prosperity without pride, power without corruption, and peace without stagnation. Let me remind you of the ultimate truth. Your greatest work is on yourself. The world will tempt you to focus on the external, money, recognition, results. But the wise man invests first in building the unseen structures of thought, belief, and self-command. He knows that when the foundation is secure, any edifice can be built. When the roots are deep, the winds of misfortune cannot topple him. When the mind is disciplined, success cannot escape him for long. The final call is this: do not let another day slip by as a passive observer of your own potential. Seize this moment, this hour, this very breath, and declare inwardly that you are done with mediocrity. Let your actions echo your commitment. Let your words and thoughts carve new channels in your subconscious mind, making success not just a possibility but an expectation. Surround yourself with people and ideas that challenge, expand, and elevate you. Be ruthless with distractions and unwavering in your devotion to growth. When you encounter defeat, as all men do not retreat into self-pity or blame. Stand taller. Extract the lesson. Refine your approach. You will never reach your potential while dragging around the corpse of your past identity. You must bury him. And burying him is not done once. It is done daily. Every time you wake up and choose intention over impulse. Every time you move when you don't feel like it. Every time you do the work without applause. Growth is not found in comfort. Growth is not found in motivation. Growth is found in the resistance, in the friction between who you are and who you're becoming. So stop asking for easy. Easy will betray you. Easy is the comfort food of failure. Instead, ask for truth, ask for challenge, ask for the pressure that forges character. Because here is what most will never understand. Your future self, the one who has power, peace, purpose, he is already inside you, but he is trapped under the weight of your current habits. He is suffocating beneath your excuses. He is screaming behind your distractions, and only you can set him free. Not with words, not with dreams, but with daily, disciplined action. You cannot rise while you remain loyal to who you've been. That loyalty must be broken. That version of you, the one who settles, who hides, who hesitates, he must be betrayed. Yes, betrayed. Because that version of you has betrayed your potential long enough. If you want to rise, you must declare war on your lower nature. You must make your old habits uncomfortable, your old excuses unacceptable, your old patterns unbearable. Stop trying to improve that old version of yourself. He's not worth saving. He was never designed for the heights you're about to reach. You must replace him, not with luck, not with hope, but with brutal, disciplined, intentional growth. I tell you this not to inspire you. I tell you this because it is required, because mediocrity has a gravity. And if you don't push against it with everything you've got, it will pull you back. Understand this. Change will cost you your comfort, your pride, your laziness. But staying the same will cost you everything. Your purpose, your peace, your potential. So stop waiting for the right moment. It doesn't exist. The only right time is the one you decide. Decide now that you are done negotiating with your limitations. Decide now that your old self no longer gets a vote. Decide now that your life will not be dictated by how you feel, but by what you decide. Because growth does not care how you feel. It responds only to one thing: action. You will feel tired. Keep going. You will feel fear. Push forward. You will feel doubt. Act anyway. Because the only way to silence fear is to outgrow it. The only way to destroy doubt is to drown it in progress. The only way to kill the old version of you is to starve him of indulgence and feed him discomfort. You see, the old you was created by accident, through habits you didn't choose, beliefs you inherited, pain you never processed. But the new you, he will be forged by design. He will not come from comfort. He will be summoned in discomfort, built in silence, sharpened in solitude, and eventually he will rise. Not because he was lucky, but because you were willing. Willing to do what was hard. Willing to be misunderstood. Willing to demand more from yourself than anyone else ever did. That is the path of all great men. They outgrow their past. They outlast their weakness. They outdiscipline their distractions. They shed their skin to reveal something unrecognizable. That is what you are doing now. This is not reinvention. This is resurrection. And it begins with a decision. I will no longer live in the shell of who I used to be. Because every day you hesitate, the old you wins. Every time you justify your laziness, the old you tightens his grip. Every time you surrender to comfort, you give him one more day of life. Enough. The world does not need another man stuck in his past. The world needs you, the real you, the focused, the fire-breathing, risk-taking, truth-speaking version of you who no longer waits to be chosen because he has already chosen himself. The man who no longer tiptoes around his greatness but owns it without apology. He is not built overnight, but he is built one brick at a time, one decision at a time, one moment of discomfort at a time. And brick by brick you rise, out of the ashes of your former self, out of the wreckage of your old beliefs, out of the prison of your comfort zone, because you were never meant to stay the same. You were never designed to plateau. You were created for evolution. And evolution is not optional, it is urgent. You either evolve or you decay. You either rise or you rot. You either kill the old version of you or you become him. So choose now, not later. Now, because if you don't outgrow your old life, it will become your graveyard. And you weren't born to die in mediocrity. You were born to build something eternal. But the foundation must be new. The man must be new. The habits must be new. The commitment must be absolute. Nothing less will do. And yes, this will be hard. But hear me. Hard is the path to heaven. Growth is found in resistance. Strength is built in struggle. Mastery is born from repetition. And greatness? Greatness comes to the man who is willing to bury his former self without ceremony. The man who forces himself every single day to outgrow the version he was yesterday. And that man is you. The man who waits for transformation to happen to him is a man who will wait forever. Transformation is not granted, it is taken. You do not wait to evolve, you force evolution through repetition, through pain, through the daily demolition of the thoughts, behaviors, and boundaries that no longer serve your mission. And yes, it will feel unnatural, because you're walking away from the identity that once kept you safe. But safety is not your goal. Strength is. You must begin to question everything the old version of you called normal. Because normal is the enemy. Normal is the cage. Normal is the graveyard of potential. The version of you that hits the snooze button, that avoids responsibility, that scrolls instead of bills, he is not your friend, he is your captor. And the moment you see him clearly is the moment you reclaim your power. You must develop an intolerance for your own excuses, an allergic reaction to your old patterns, a disgust for stagnation so deep that the thought of remaining the same becomes unbearable. That's when the shift happens. When you stop desiring growth and begin demanding it, you do not have the luxury of time. You do not have the privilege of delay. Because while you hesitate, your potential sits in a cell, unchallenged, unused, unlived. Break it out with action, with intensity, with an unshakable daily standard that says, who I was is no longer acceptable. Because who you were may have gotten you this far, but who you must become is non-negotiable if you intend to go further. Do not merely upgrade your habits, overhaul your identity. Stop calling yourself a man of potential. That title expires quickly. Be the man who executes, who finishes, who doesn't dream of transformation, he embodies it. Everything you do must be filtered through this question. Does this align with the man I'm becoming, or does it serve the man I'm outgrowing? Every decision, every action, every word must pass through that filter. Because once you decide to become the next level version of yourself, nothing is casual anymore. Your food, your schedule, your thoughts, your relationships, all of it must support the vision. All of it must serve the upgrade. And you must protect that vision like a lion guards his den. Because doubt will come, distraction will come, the temptation to revert will scream for your attention. Ignore it. When it whispers, just this once, respond, not anymore. When it says, you've done enough today, say, enough for who? The man I was or the man I'm becoming? Because you must understand, the old version of you doesn't leave quietly. He claws, he bargains, he rationalizes. And if you entertain him for one moment, you breathe life back into your limits. This is why I tell you, do not negotiate with your old self. Starve him, ignore him, replace him with new rituals, with new beliefs, with new standards so strong they choke out the weakness you once called normal. You do not need more information. You need immersion, complete radical immersion into the life you were meant to live. Read what strengthens you. Listen to what sharpens you. Surround yourself only with those who remind you of your greatness, not your excuses. Audit your circle, because growth will make you outgrow people, and that is not betrayal, it is alignment. Some people will call your change arrogance. Let them. They are addicted to the version of you that made them comfortable, but you did not come this far to remain small for their approval. You came to become fire, and fire does not ask for permission. Fire does not apologize for burning away what cannot come with it. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to rise, and rising requires that you offend your past, that you disrupt your patterns, that you kill off every version of yourself that was built to survive so you can thrive. Yes, kill him. The lazy you, the anxious you, the overthinking you, the insecure you. They were built from past pain, past conditioning, past compromise. They are not who you are. They are who you learn to be. And what is learned can be unlearned, but only through action. Do not try to heal the old version of you. That is not your job anymore. Your job is to replace him with someone stronger, someone wiser, someone who wakes up with purpose and goes to bed with progress. Your job is to show up for your future self like your life depends on it, because it does. Let me tell you the truth. Most will never speak. Success is not kind. It is not soft. It does not make exceptions for emotion. Success demands that you let go of every belief that coddles your weakness. The man who waits to feel ready will never evolve. But the man who moves forward despite fear, he is the man who builds an unshakable legacy. He is the man who no longer operates on motivation but on standards. He is the man who no longer needs approval because he approves of himself. He is the man who no longer asks, "Can I become great?" but instead expects to be great. because he lives in a way that greatness becomes unavoidable. You must become that man. And becoming him is a violent process. It will require that you outwork, outthink, and outlast the version of you that settles. But hear me clearly. It is possible. And not because you're special, but because you are willing. Willing to pay the price in discomfort. Willing to walk alone when necessary. Willing to demand results even when no one is watching. Because that's where your evolution happens. Not when you're celebrated, but when you're disciplined in the dark. Not when you feel like it, but when you act anyway. Not when the crowd claps, but when you applaud yourself for doing what was necessary. And if you keep going long enough, the man who once had potential becomes the man who fulfills it. Because you kept the promise to outgrow the man who feared rejection. The man who stayed small to be accepted. The man who played safe to avoid discomfort. You buried him. And in his place, you built someone undeniable. Someone whose life is proof that discipline is divine. Someone whose habits scream, I was not born to blend, I was born to break patterns. Because here is the highest truth of all. The most powerful version of you has always been there waiting. Not for luck, not for rescue, but for you to finally stop apologizing for your hunger. And that is what this entire journey is about. Not becoming someone else, but removing everything that isn't you. The fear, not you. The excuses, not you. The laziness, not you. Those are hand-me-down behaviors from a former self who didn't know his own power. But now you know. And when you know, you can never go back. You may falter. You may stumble. But you do not retreat. Because you have seen too much, felt too much, evolved too much. There is no going back. There is only up. So rise one more time, one more level, one more version. And this time make the decision that this version of you, the focused one, the bold one, the one who forces himself to grow, this one stays. There is no greater war than the one between who you were and who you are destined to be. And that war is not fought once. It is fought every morning, every decision, every act of resistance against the voice that says, stay the same. But let me tell you what the world won't. Staying the same is suffering disguised as safety. The man who refuses to grow is not avoiding pain. He's only choosing a slower, quieter form of it. Stagnation feels safe until you realize the cost. Until you wake up one day surrounded by mediocrity, buried in regret, and haunted by the man you could have been. That's why I tell you now, be ruthless with your evolution. Don't just outgrow the old you. Bury him beneath a mountain of discipline and new standards so high he could never climb back. Because you must understand, the process of becoming unrecognizable is not poetic, it's not romantic, it's violent, and it must be. If you are going to be reborn, the old must be burned. That means no more negotiating with your patterns. That means no more conversations with doubt. That means no more romanticizing your distractions, justifying your inaction, or excusing your softness. You are either ascending or rotting. You are either leading yourself with ruthless focus or following your impulses into decay. And if you want freedom, real freedom, the kind few ever taste, it only comes through discipline. It only comes when your standards are so high that your old self gasps for air in their presence. He cannot survive in your new environment because your new environment is built for performance, is built for power, for purpose, for persistence, and your old identity. He's allergic to that level of expectation. Let him suffocate. Let the weak man die. The one who said tomorrow, the one who waited to feel inspired, the one who repeated the same year again and again and called it growth. He was never going to take you anywhere. He was a placeholder, a shadow of who you were meant to be. But now you lead. You are no longer a passenger in your own story. You have taken the wheel, and with that power comes responsibility to execute, to endure, to evolve without asking permission. You don't need support. You don't need consensus. You need standards, because a man with standards does not need to be motivated. His life moves in alignment with his decisions. Every action, every step, every breath measured against one question: does this serve the man I am becoming? If yes, it stays. If no, it dies. That's how you grow. You subtract, you strip, you sever, until only truth remains, until only strength remains. And in that space, the new you emerges not just more powerful, but unshakable. Because when you've killed every excuse, every weak identity, every self-limiting belief, what's left is a man who cannot be broken. A man whose results are not random, they are engineered. A man who doesn't hope for success, he expects it. Because he lives in a way that demands it. And that expectation, it rewires your world, it shapes your posture, your voice, your presence. People feel it. They may not know what's changed, but they'll know something has. Because you'll no longer carry the weight of who you used to be. You'll walk in the power of who you chose to become. And in that moment, you no longer speak to life like a beggar. You speak like a builder. You say, this is my standard, this is my path, this is my legacy. And anything that does not align with that, be it habit, relationship, or thought, will not survive. Yes, there will be grief in the process. Grief for the man you used to be. The one who was liked, accepted, predictable, but you must grieve him fast because he was keeping you average. And you were not built for average. You were built to embody fire, to carve your name into history with work ethic and vision and unbreakable will. You were built to lead your life like a general commands an army, with clarity, with presence, with intentional violence against anything that dares threaten the mission. And what is the mission? To become the man no one thought you could be, especially the man you used to be. That is your duty now. Not to outshine others, not to prove the doubters wrong, but to prove your highest self right. He is watching, he is waiting, he is whispering, don't stop, don't slip, don't settle, because he knows what's at stake. He knows what happens if you slow down, if you go soft, if you forget why you started. The old version of you wins. And if he wins, you lose everything. That is the battle. That is the war. And that is why you must go further than you've ever gone. You must push through fatigue with fury. You must rise in pain with precision. You must move in fear with faith. Because faith is not just spiritual, faith is strategic. It is the belief that if you keep showing up, keep showing discipline, keep killing off what no longer belongs, then the life you seek will be forced to manifest. It will not be given. It will not be gifted. It will be dragged into existence by the man who outgrew every weaker version of himself and never looked back. That is you. The man who stopped waiting for growth and chose to force it. The man who bled out his excuses and stood tall in their absence. The man who mastered his impulses, his schedule, his mind, until success became predictable. You see, real transformation is not a moment. It is a series of moments where you chose courage over comfort, clarity over confusion, creation over convenience. And that choice, it becomes your identity. So don't stop now, not when you're this close, because the final test is always the loudest. Your old self will scream, your fatigue will grow, the pressure will mount, but that's not a sign to quit. It's a signal. It means the old you is on life support. One more push, one more refusal to give in, one more hour of action with no audience, no applause, no approval, and he's gone. You will have replaced him. Not with someone who has it all figured out, but with someone who refuses to stop figuring it out. That man, he is unstoppable. That man, he is inevitable. That man, he is you. And now, as you move forward, understand this. There is no finish line. There is no final version. Because outgrowing the old you is not a phase. It is a lifestyle. It is a daily death and a daily resurrection.